But anyway, while we're confirming that stuff,
I confirmed it. I'm gonna post the link to the Twitter live stream right here.
Oh, you got it.
And we've got 2 viewers.
Hey, welcome
on X. I don't want to offend anybody. I don't know. Do people prefer to call it X or Twitter? I don't know.
I don't know either. I think that's undecided at this point.
Okay. So if you're one of our 2 viewers, thank you.
Yes, and thank you to Eric for paving the way in this.
1 viewer, and I'm viewing it. It's just me.
I think I was the second one.
Is that kind of like liking your own post?
Yeah, probably, but it's okay. Alex actually Zia has a good question about LinkedIn, so we should actually try that next time. Also, we can broadcast to LinkedIn. Before we get started, and I see a bunch of people here already. That's awesome. See everybody in the chat, some nice friendly faces like Zia. I wanted to let everybody know that we've got little 6 weeks left now for GTC. Super exciting. We mentioned this on yesterday's live stream. It's all hands on deck here right now. Towards I'm gonna post. Let me see what I'm gonna do it on this screen, I guess. All hands on deck. Our team here is getting all the assets, presentations, videos, slides. It's going to be amazing. This is the GTC page I threw up because I wanted to tell everybody about the special pricing, which is still in effect for another 6 days. So you have till February 7th. Go ahead and if you have any plans at all to head out there, we also want to hear from you because we'd love to meet with you personally and also help facilitate any meetings you might want with anyone from our team on maybe you want to meet with the Audio to Face team, Digital Humans team, maybe you want to talk to Miles from Warp, maybe you want to talk to Maddie about USD, he'll be there. Maybe you want to talk to Eric, he'll be there, and he's actually presenting this project that the live stream's all about. This is amazing. Anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. So we want to hear from you if you're going, but definitely take advantage of that special pricing. I think I'm going to actually set up a special channel on the Omniverse Discord server specifically for people who plan on attending, so I could share some other information there. We want to invite you to some stuff too, so we want to know who's going. You can always reach out to me via email, edmar@nvidia.com, or on Discord. Our Discord server is discord.gg/NVIDIA Omniverse. The other cool thing that's important to note here is that we have recently put together topic pages to make your experience with GTC much smoother, so you can find out exactly all the sessions that relate to what you're most passionate about. Anything from USD to SDG, industrial digitalization. We also have great sessions for creators, obviously, and digital twins, which is huge right now. So check out the forums. We'll post this link in the chat in a second. But we have, if you go to announcements on the NVIDIA Omniverse forums, you'll see it there. And then the other thing you'll see, which would be super helpful, because everyone who watches this live stream specifically, I know you're hardcore users, big fans. You're great members of our community. We would love to hear from you about this documentation survey that just has a little bit of a week left in it, and then it's going to go away. We really want to take you to take 5 minutes, answer some really quick questions. It'll really help the documentation team to improve and add or take away stuff in documentation that would, so we're really making the best experience possible for people who are learning Omniverse and OpenUSD. Super helpful. I was very happy to hear from Megan, who presented on the live stream a couple weeks ago about this documentation survey, that we're actually seeing good response rates. So keep it up. If you haven't done it, please do it, especially people out here watching this live stream, because you guys are some of our best users out here. So anyway, so that's what I wanted to kind of share with everybody really quick before we get into the topic at hand. I probably can't stay because I have a meeting I have to get ready for a little while, but I want to stay for a little while at least and see what you're up to, because I saw you post something pretty amazing yesterday. Are you sharing that today, or is that top?
No, it's not quite there yet.
Okay, all right, wait.
We're working on this workflow with Ayush Gosh and the Isaac team, and he's going to be on next week as a special guest.
Okay, cool.
And I just really want to get the whole thing working by next week. But for this week, what I've got to show you is that we've got the trainer all working, including live evaluation of the model, of the AI model. So we're going to be able to train an autonomous mobile robot We're going to collect data to teach it how to drive. We're going to train the AI model, and then we're going to test samples from that model to be able to check how well it's working.
That's
And
amazing.
that's what we're doing today.
That's
And
great.
Jen wishes she had a self-driving car because she stuck on her commute.
Is she really?
No,
Oh.
her laptop's not working right. So that's,
Oh, okay.
yeah. She
Well,
doesn't commute. Come on, MR.
I thought maybe she would. I don't know. Maybe she headed to your house
I
or
guess
something.
she
I
kind
don't
of
know.
does, right? She changes how she has 2 houses she works from, so maybe she was commuting. But no, I guess that could be. But
Well, Jen, you're in our thoughts, and hope the laptop issue gets resolved.
yeah,
I'm sure it will. So pretty exciting. Okay, so you're gonna bring everybody up to speed of what you've been doing the last few days since the last live stream.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
No, I'll hang
and
up for a few minutes. I'll hang
okay.
out for another 10 minutes or so, probably.
Oh, that's great.
'Cause I really want to. I want to. This is interesting stuff to me as well. So I really want to see what you've been doing.
So first of all, a little bit of rebranding of the project. Nothing too serious. Let
Was
me
that
just
because
share.
the session is named a different way, or?
Yeah, and just to kind of make sure we're maybe being a little more general. I think Jet Racer is just a little too specific. It's just one specific platform. And I'm thinking that the Discord channel where we're all hanging out, I think we should rename that to be just like AMR, so autonomous mobile robots, because I think we've got people who are interested in Jet Racer, they're interested in F-110, they're interested in teaching drones to fly themselves, or fixed wing aircraft to fly themselves. All of it, flying cars, why not?
That's a
And
great
so,
idea.
yeah, this just opens it up a little bit to be AMR for autonomous mobile robot.
So will everybody
And,
know what that AMR means?
maybe we should just call it autonomous mobile robot.
What do you guys think in the chat?
Yeah, help us out here.
AMR or autonomous mobile? Because I could do that right now while we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Good idea. So So then this project also that you're working on, you're renaming the same thing.
Let's see. Zia thinks AMR is.
It's very close to ASMR, which may confuse people.
Yeah, so maybe we should keep it autonomous mobile robots. AMR stands for autonomous mobile robot, but I think that's our answer, right? If our community doesn't know what that means and they've been participating here, then that's too jargony.
Yeah.
Too jargony. Too.
Well, listen, you actually come up with some great jargon though. Like EDIO, I think is fantastic, and eventually that'll make it into the mainstream vernacular.
Well, the funny thing is that's a play on. There's this a really kind of a famous company called IDEO, who's a famous industrial design firm, and it's a bit of a play on words off of their name. So instead of IDEO, it's EDIO.
I like
And
it.
I actually met with someone who was an ex IDEO person the other day. It was really kind of fun.
Oh, just the other day, like spontaneously, or this is arranged?
She's interested in working with Omniverse. So
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool.
we had a former IDEO person. So there you go. Now, as far as the rebranding for this Jet Racer stuff goes, we're using the F-110 platform. And so I'm just going to start calling it Ackerman AMR Trainer and Ackerman AMR Connect Controller. And just so you know, so if you get into the world of autonomous mobile robots, there are different classes of autonomous mobile robot, or AMR. And the classes are organized by how you control those robots. So, for example, there would be a differential robot, and that's the kind you see that have 2 wheels in the back and some kind of a slider in the front, and you just control those 2 wheels at the differential between the wheels. So those are differential robots. And any robot that steers like a passenger vehicle, so has Ackerman steering, and which is a silly, I guess it's as good as a word for anything, but the Ackerman has to do with the fact that as those wheels turn, the inside wheel turns more than the outside wheel, and that's Ackerman steering. But this idea that any kind of four-wheeled car where the front wheels steer is called an Ackerman robot. And so this Fusion 360 model this Onshape model I've got is the Ackerman template, and you can input the suspension geometry and steering geometry from any other kind of an Ackerman car into there, and it should work for you. And
Cool.
yeah, what else? So there we go. This is the Ackerman AMR template, the Ackerman AMR trainer. That's what we're working on right now is Ackerman AMRs. And so for you in the community, we could keep it specific in the Jet Racer channel. We could call it Ackerman AMR. Ackerman Autonomous Mobile Robot is a bit of a mouthful. But I would say I'll probably just do an autonomous mobile robot and open it up a little bit, as we go. All right. But let's see. I've just renamed this extension to be to be specific to it's an omni.sample.ackerman AMR trainer. And so we're going to see what mistakes I made when I renamed it next, which is, let's just go. While it's loading, it's almost done, but just looking for anything weird stuff. This is all the controller. I did some find and replace kind of things. I'm getting this ready to release it publicly, so I'm kind of getting the documentation written and getting ready to pass it through all the official legal stuff so I can make this open this up and release it publicly on GitHub. Nothing too wild.
Have you done that before? You put stuff open source?
Yeah, we've got an Excel sample that I've pushed out.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember that. So you open source that. That's cool. And then it's not a tedious process. You said legal.
It's not too bad. I keep my stuff pretty simple. Like if I had a lot of assets that I'd just like, it's to catch stuff. It would catch you if you didn't know what you were doing. So like, if I was just like downloading assets willy-nilly from the internet to use that I didn't have permission to use, then legal would catch that, and that would be hard. But
wait a second, this breaking news.
Yeah, right. But Jen arrived.
Maybe she's trying to fix her microphone.
Oh dear. Okay, but I know better than that, right? So I do not download assets willy-nilly from the internet. I only use assets that I know where they came from and know that I have permission to use. So, stuff like that.
Yeah, smart. Yeah, and it's a really good point to make to the community members. Make sure you have the rights to use whatever you're using, always.
Okay, let's go to my extensions. Pretty sure that my settings are looking at the wrong folder now. Yep, see that?
Okay, fix my audio. I think
You are a technician of technicians. What was wrong with it?
Oh, so many things. I computers,
Coffee spilling on computers. Did you spill coffee on your laptop? Is that what happened?
No, I only have water. Only water, no coffee.
Uh-oh. Okay, we got errors. Okay, the controller worked. The trainer's got some errors. So let's fix these errors real quick.
All right, well, you have a good partner in crime here. I'm going to head out to get ready for my meeting, but great to see the progress on this. Great to see you, Jen and Eric, and congratulations on streaming to X.
Yeah, we're streaming on X today.
You're pinch hitting for me. I have a partner meeting later on I have to get ready for.
Oh, okay.
But I'll be watching. How's that?
Ooh.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
A little creepy. I'll be watching.
I'm going to be watching on X.
Oh, okay.
I'll be the one viewer.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh my.
Good luck today. See you guys later.
I'll see you. Let's try reloading that extension and we'll see what's going on here. I just renamed the extension to be Ackerman AMR Trainer instead of Jet Racer Trainer. And so I'm sure I made a mistake renaming. Let's see here.
So I just miss debugging.
You missed Edmar's GTC announcements.
Oh, okay.
And now we're debugging this name change. Let's see. Here we go. Can I import name Ackerman AMR data? So it's having a problem with this Ackerman AMR data class. Let's see if I rename that correctly. So it's saying from Ackerman AMR data, import Ackerman AMR data. Ackerman AMR data.py. Oh, that would do it. Ackerman AMR data. Okay, one problem found. Wonder if I renamed this one. Yeah, I didn't. Ackerman. There's always some mistake, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a live stream without a mistake or two.
One question: will there be a repo with all the CAD files and the extensions built?
Yeah. So the GitHub repo will have all of the USD assets in it directly, and then I'll be releasing the Onshape project publicly. So if you want the CAD data, you'll get it from Onshape. If you want that origin CAD data, or if you want to open that project, put in your own suspension dimensions and spit out your own template. And then then you would be able to take the assets that are in the GitHub repo and reconnect those to your new exported CAD and have whatever card you want. So great question. Yep. So save that. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Well, that wasn't too bad. Let's see if it capture it it's working. There's the new user interface, which is similar to Jen. Jen helped me a lot with this, and then wasn't quite working, and so I did some more tweaks and made the image bigger. But it's definitely looking a lot better. It could probably use one more round of revisions. But let's fix this layout and show off what we've done here. Oh, you know what? It doesn't know. This one's still called JetRacer Controller, so it knows where it is. But let's do this. I've started using this layout, quick save, quick load. It is so handy. Let me tell you. Here's the trainer. It closed that window for me, but I promise it's really cool. Okay, so here's the trainer. So now what I can do is I can go to layout and quick save. It'll save this layout, and this is particularly handy for if you're working with edit layers, because I'm learning that I really like this, especially on my widescreen, which is the other screen. I love this layout of having my layer pane and my stage pane and my properties right here. So I can kind of go around. I can see my properties without scrolling so much. And I can always see what layer is the edit layer. So I make so many fewer mistakes with my edit layers this way. So if you want to get into edit layers, I would say step one is to go ahead and make a layout that's more like this, so you can see the stage and the layers at once.
You want to know my favorite layout is?
What's that?
If you hit F7.
F7?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, pure viewport. I love it. That's the first person drive around XR style, almost XR layout. Deletes all and shuts down your computer.
No. No, that's all F4. That's yeah, you just hit F7 again.
Yep.
It basically just toggles the UI F7. Essentially to go back and forth.
It's like F11 on the web browser, right?
Yeah, it's really useful, especially if you're trying to just get a sense of what's in the viewport, and you don't want to look at all the UI and stuff. Or I don't know. I find it useful.
Oh, I'm going to open up the scene next. I made a new scene. I've cleaned up the F110th, this Ackerman AMR asset. So it's you can now if it's in the pane, you can just drag it in as an asset. And anyway, let's go to the perspective view. I found out that one of my wheels was always moving, and so it was making the camera shake a lot. Look how stable it is now. No jitters or anything. Look at that.
Nice.
Boom. Oh, dang it. There's a jitter. Come on, stop it. Let's stop. Okay, it stopped.
You just got to yell at it.
Yeah, that's right. That's the secret. If I had a screwdriver, I'd hit it, but I don't. So a virtual screwdriver. That's what we need is an extension, right? Like the whack it extension.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Got this nice chase camera. Let's see if this controller is going to work. I've changed the controller code. I've got to incorporate. Jen's done a nice thing with made it keyboard compatible. Oh, and it doesn't veer to the right. It used to veer to the right. But I've made it so you press the A button on the gamepad, and then it just goes. And this is really nice because you'll see in a second when I'm training. Now I can just steer with my left hand, and then I can annotate as I go with my right hand. And I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. So if we take the trainer, the way we use this trainer is I hit the capture button and I click where I would want to steer. Capture, click, capture. So I'm getting a data set right now. Actually, I already have 12 images in this data set. Yeah, that's it. This is what we do. And you want to drive, you don't want to drive too well. See how I'm getting off to the side here? You want to do a lot of stuff like that because it's not going to be perfectly online on that, ideal line that you've got. Wow, this is so much easier. I haven't trained with the bigger image yet, and it is so much better. Before I had just a 400 wide image, so it was like 2/3 of that, and it's just kind of hard to really click in the exact right spot. So there you go. So we just drive around, clicking as we go. That's it. And let's see here. I'm going to stop here. And I've already collected 34 images. Now it takes, a good minute, but I found like about 400 images seems to be training pretty well. And I'll show you one of those here next. But what I've been doing for my little training routine is I drive the ideal line and annotate the ideal line. And then I go on the very right edge next to the cones. And then I go on the very left edge next to the cones. And then I just weave all over the place. And just like I'm the worst driver ever, and annotate how to get back on track. And then I do like one more of the ideal line. And I just kind of go through kind of those laps like that until I have about 400 images. And that seems to work pretty well. And then what you would do next is, we'll go ahead and do it. Let me go info, and then I hit. So the number of epochs, if you've trained AIs, it's just kind of how many optimization rounds it does. So you pick that number. 5 is on the low end, but is probably pretty good. If you do 5, as you do 5, it's gonna. I'll just train it here and show you. So where's my? Here you go. It's trained for 5 epochs. And you can see my loss. This is my loss. This is how far off the model is from as it goes. And you can see that loss is improving, but it's still a little high for me. So if I hit train, it's just going to do 5 more. And now my loss is getting a little lower. And it's as if, at this point, it's as if I just done 10 epochs. So that's okay. Here we go. There's 15. That's good enough. And that's how you train your model. And this one's never going to get that good because I really just don't have enough data. 34 images isn't enough. But now I can click on the evaluate button, and what it's doing, and it's going to be a terrible results right now. I've got it in a loop running, and it's looking at the viewport. I know this is a little confusing, but it's just what I could do, what I've got working so far. But it's taking this image and then putting that green dot where it thinks it should steer. So you have to kind of use your imagination a little bit, and let's see how well it does. But as I get closer to this corner, if it's a decent model, you're going to see this dot move towards the left. Now, this is a model that's been trained on just 34 images. Let's stop evaluating. So I wouldn't expect it to perform very well. But just going through the UI, one last little bit here is you can enter a file name here, and you can save and load models to that file name. And this is great because if you save this model .pth, that's a standard PyTorch model file. And so if you have an extension or an app that can run PyTorch models, you just load this model, and this can drive the car. And in fact, I'm working with Ayush Ghosh. He is an absolute ROS and Isaac ROS expert. He wrote the integration between ROS and IsaacSim. And so he is working on the ROS packages, or a ROS node with a few topics that will take the camera input from Omniverse, pass that to this model, evaluate the model, come up with steering angles and throttle values, and send it back to Omniverse and drive the car. And we should have that done by next Thursday. And I believe he'll be on here as a special guest. And we should have a self-driving car next Thursday to show off, which I just can't wait. So anyway, so there you go. Oh, and to make it even cooler, because he's doing all this with ROS and with a ROS node, you can deploy that node to the real world F110th or real world NVIDIA Jetson, and it'll work there too. So in theory, if we've got a good asset here in our world that looks like the real thing, you train the car here, you test it with the ROS package and tweak it, get it working, and then you deploy that directly to your real car. And you've got a self-driving a real car that you've trained completely in Omniverse. Anyway, I love it. I think it's the coolest thing ever. So let's get let me open up my files here. And I've got those on my other screen. Let me just, there we go. It turns out I have some models. So let's, here we go. Here I've got 400 images here. You can see all the images. And if you look, and we can go through some of the code, but it's got these numbers in the front. That's the annotation. Those are the X and Y coordinates that I clicked on for each of those images. So there's the annotated data set with a little over 400 images. But let's go here. We can just, I don't need this folder here. Let's just change this one to Apex. So now when I reload the extension, it's going to have a little bit better data set. Show you. So you see the count here. There we go, 401 images. Let's just do a capture here, and let's evaluate. Oh, it's a little bit off for some reason. Okay, we're driving forward, and you can see it does try to steer inward some, doesn't it? But it's as we get closer to this corner, you can see that that dot is going to go more and more to the side. You know what I didn't do? This is garbage, and you know why? They never loaded the model. Let's load the model and try again. Here you go. Evaluate. All right, let's try this again. Oh dear, I was getting really good results. I swear. Let's go ahead and stop this, and let's
Are
capture.
you also not updating the image as well?
It should be updating it from the viewport, and then annotating it here. But let's go ahead and.
Yeah, because I only saw the green dot moving. There was no the image stayed the same.
Yeah, I'm not updating the image in the capture screen,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's a little bit goofy than that way. The user experience is certainly not perfect.
That doesn't need to be perfect. Not yet.
Yeah. Just has to be good enough. Let me just see. Yeah, I've got a model right there. But let's just retrain. I'm not sure what's going on there. So I'm going to relaunch the extension, just hot reload it. And then I'm going to go ahead and train for 5 epochs. And let's see what my loss looks like. This will take a little bit longer to train because it's 400 images instead of 30. But it's not too bad. There we go. Yeah, you can see this loss is getting a lot smaller very quickly. Let's go ahead and train for 5 more. Well, let's just see how this looks. Let's evaluate it. Let's get a base image going, and let's start driving. And evaluate here. Yeah, it's steering way off to the side, isn't it?
Is that because of the weight? Is it due to the acceleration? Like,
I just resized that UI. I wonder if I made a mistake in my UI with my user interface. Let's just take a look at that. Here's build UI on mouse released. Oh, you know what? I might have had some hard-coded 400, 200s in here somewhere. There it is. That would definitely throw it off. I resized this to be 300 by 600. Just looking. Yep. Okay. That would definitely be a problem. Is that when I train? Oh, and all that data set, actually, I'm going to need to do a whole new data set because of that hard-coded value. Or just change my thing for now. Everything else, this is the only hard-coded values. If I come back here and make this 200 by 400, then it should work. Let's see how that looks. Just for the live stream, and need to figure out not have that be hard-coded. But it's also when I collect the data, it matters what size that thumbnail is. I got to think about that. Uh-oh. Well, that didn't say. I was having this problem yesterday.
What
where
was going on?
the hot reload was not working for the UI elements. I have to relaunch.
It wasn't working for.
It's not
Is it?
updating. It's not updating the UI when I hot reload.
Is there an error that's occurring at the same time?
No. It's a little bit off. Yeah, to Zia's point, yeah, there should definitely be a progress bar. I should have the loss in the UI. The loss would be pretty easy to add back in. This doesn't have very good context without the progress bar. And the loss, I would like it to update as it iterates through the epochs, which is all takes some async stuff. And the async stuff just always takes a little bit longer to write than you'd like. And I just don't have time for that before GTC. Layout, quick load. Oh, that's weird. I must have messed it up. Well, there was an error. What is that one about? I think it's this subscription I tried to unsubscribe to, and there we go. What is it? Layout quick save. Yeah, there's this OV update, and maybe you could help me fix this really quick. But on my teardown here, on my unload, there's this subscription that I wanted to unsubscribe from, but I've initialized it in the self.ov update is none, and then I use it later for the evaluate function. But if I'm using it, I want to unsubscribe from it. So I say if it is not none, then unsubscribe. But this is throwing an error that is this property is none. And I'm like, oh, well, I know it's. Am I checking this incorrectly?
You could, in theory, just say if self.ov_update. Or is it because you haven't created that variable? Like, where is that originally getting created?
I created it in the init function instead of equal to none.
Where's the init function?
So here's, I did it in mouse released. That would do it. I thought I did it in the init function, but I actually did it in the, there we go.
Yeah, yeah. That's probably why I kept throwing you an error.
Yeah, I think so. All right. So that'll reload it. Great. So see, it's a little smaller now. Let's load the scene and see if my annotations start working a little better. Heavens to Betsy. Cool. I'm going to do the chase camera. Oh, that's the other problem. Oh, no wonder I was confused. All of my data is from this first person view, and I was sending chase camera pictures in. So it would have no idea what to do with those. So,
gosh darn it, live stream.
So I was in this camera, which is very different from this camera. So let's evaluate here. Now let's go forward. Now hopefully you're going to see this dot go more and more. I haven't loaded a model yet. Heavens, Eric.
It's not Monday. It's only Thursday.
I know. I'm struggling in today's stream. Heavens. Okay, evaluate. Let's go forward. Okay, it's not moving around nearly as much, but you'll see it's as I get closer, it's getting really far to the left. There we go. So it's saying, hey, turn left, turn left, turn left. Okay, fine, I'll turn left. Let's turn too far left and see what happens. You can see as I turn left, it's coming back to the middle. Oh, it doesn't like that. It's a little confused in that spot, apparently. Saying turn left, turn left. Okay, now when we hit the straightaway, the big question is, does it go back towards the center of the screen?
Drum roll.
Come on, buddy. Boom. It does. And
Nice.
if I go to the side too far, it even says, hey, go right. Go back to the right.
So have you explained what this green dot is doing?
Probably not very clearly. This green dot it's taking whatever image is on the viewport, it's passing it into the model that we've trained, and it's asking it, where do you think Eric would have clicked if he was given this image, basically? And the model is saying, Eric would have clicked to the left because you're supposed to turn left. And that's correct. So there you have it. So this is showing that this model that we have trained is not perfect, but it knows in general when we should go straight, when we should turn right, when we should turn left. Now, there's this thing called training bias. Because I'm on a NASCAR loop, it only turns left. There's a lot more annotated data that says go left. And so the model, it's always saying you should go left a little more than you really should, right? And for some reason, it's saying, hey, you should go a bit lower, click a little lower than we really should. I'm not sure why that is, but that's okay. We can kind of post-process this, and we could say, you know what? It's always saying to go a little too far left. And so we're just not going to completely believe it. We're not going to go as far left as the model says. We're going to add some bias in to go a little further right than the model's saying, because we know that the model is biased to go left. And we can also kind of change, when we figure out steering angles, if it's telling us to turn that wheel 45 degrees, we can kind of tone it down a little bit, and we can say, we're only going to go like half as the angle that it's saying. We're not going to go, we're going to go a little bit less extreme so the car doesn't turn as quickly. We're going to always go a little bit further to the right than it says. We can do some tweaks like that too. If we understand the situation where we're using the model, we can make some tweaks that way to get the model to work, even if it's not perfect, right? And yeah, there you go. So you can see, like I said, it's not perfect, but in general, it's steering. It kind of knows how to steer based on what it's seeing. Another thing you can do, what I learned this week is the average of predictions is always better than any individual prediction. It must have to do with statistics, but another thing you could do to smooth out this steering, because you see it jumps around quite a bit, that prediction. Another thing we could do is we could say, well, we're not going to steer based on any one prediction. We're going to take, a group of, 2, 3, 5 predictions. We're going to average those, take that running average of the images coming back from the camera, and we're going to steer based on that running average instead of just the one image at a time. So there are a lot of things we can do. Like when we actually write the driving part, there are a lot of things we can do to smooth this thing out. And that's what we should be able to show you next week with Ayusha's help, where we should have that part working. And right now I'm steering, right? And so what we should see next week is a car that is just driving itself hands-free. So I can't wait for that. But with that is that's it. And I thought we could look at the code a little bit, and maybe what we should do. I'm trying to think of what we should do. My question for you all: here's the 400 by 200 image. It's not terrible, but do you think we should leave it small like this and call it good, or do you think we should increase the size of that image to make it easier to annotate? What are all your opinions on that? If we think we should make it bigger, I think we could hop into the code and fix what we've got there. I think I'm just going to fix it. It was just way easier to annotate. Let's see. So let's go. So in here, I've already fixed that in this file. If you look, I've got this thumbnail width variable kicking around for my widths of elements. So they're all based off of the thumbnail size. Where's that? Right here. 300 by 600. But then if you look at the Ackerman data, it just seems like maybe what I should do, thumbnail width, no height, just pass that in, do you think, the initializer? What do you think, Jen?
For what?
Well, we got to pass, when we do this training, we've got to pass in, excuse me, we've got to tell it how this, it's going to, maybe I should talk a little bit about how this model is trained, how that works. Should we just talk about that a little bit? Because I think that you all don't have context for what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Let's just kind of do a little code walkthrough for the next 10 minutes. Okay. So here we're creating, this is creating the AI model on the GPU. The device is the GPU. You can train these on the CPU or the GPU. We're picking the GPU. We're using PyTorch, and we're creating, this is our model. This policy right here, these are the properties of the neural network model. So like we're going to use a Resonant 18 base model. It's going to be a fully connected model. For our activation function, we're using a Tanch. And then these are some things, all the images that come in. They're going to be resized. The images will be resized to 224 by 224 and have these changes made to the images to kind of normalize them. And then this is the forward propagation function that the neural network will use. So we're defining our neural network here, and then we're moving that neural network onto the GPU device. Cool, right? Now, our images are 224 by 224, and our viewports is 1080p, and the thumbnail is 200 by 400. So if my annotation says the X and Y that Eric clicked on was 3587, well, 3587 what? Right? Is that in, what kind of coordinates is that in? And so when you train a model, you don't have it work with that kind of space. Your model will always give back values for X and Y that are between -1 and 1. And that's really handy because we can train a model with one size of image, but then we can use the model on a different size image if we do it that way. So you definitely want to train your model to give back values in parametric space. So values between -1 and +1. But what that means is when our model is reading in those annotated images, it's important that those numbers it's got to know, man, it's got to know like what size was used, what size of image was used. So for example, now that I've resized my UI to 300 by 600 for that thumbnail, all of those annotations I have aren't going to work. They're going to be in that top left corner, right? It's going to be kind of messed up. Does that make sense? Because when it trains, it's expecting the image to be 300 by 600. So, and so in fact, I'm going to go to call this 400 by 200. And create a new folder, just called Apex. And this week I'll create a new data set that's 600 by 300 in that one. Yeah. So there's the that's what was going on there. And so what I've done in the code is I've said, well, this isn't going to work yet. Ackerman AMR data. Right here, this one's going to fail right now because it needs to know the thumbnail width. Which, of course, is defined down here. Let's make sure that's here. Okay. So now, when I train my model, it's going to initialize the data set to expect that those X and Y coordinates to be in that 300 by 600 range. So there you go. So okay. But let's get back to the actual AI stuff, which is so interesting. So here's where we define the model. Here we create a data set using PyTorch, and there's Ackerman AMR data. Here's our data set class, and it holds all of these. It holds copies of the images. It holds copies of the coordinates. It reads those from the files in that file. And then every time I click and annotate an image, it adds that image to this data set. And then it has this get item function so that when we train the model can say, hey, give me the data. And it'll hop in and return all the images with their coordinates. So you can this initialize goes through that folder and grabs all the images, grabs the XY coordinates off, grabs the image raw data out. And there's this where is it? Init list directory. Somewhere it might, oh, you know what? I'm doing it here. I should probably move it. But if I do on capture, no, on mouse released, this is not the best. I should probably move this to a function in the Ackerman data. But here I'm just adding a single image with a single annotation to that data set. So then as you're clicking on that thumbnail, it's adding annotated data to this data set. Just like that. And then when you click on the train button right here, it's going to, let's see here. Basically, it initializes some it's like the training hyperparameters. It loads the data, and then it flips that AI model into training mode. And then for as many epochs as we've got in our user interface, it's going to go through each image. Anyway, it's going to add the, let's see, prediction. So yeah, it's going to basically just go through those and calculate the loss. And where does it actually do take a step? Optimizers at 0 grad, calculates the loss. Here we go, boom. There was for each, so it's going to go through each of the images, do a prediction, and take an optimizer step. or sorry, it does a prediction for that image. It calculates how bad it was. It keeps track of the overall loss, and it takes a step, and it has that neural network take a step in the right direction. And oh no, here's where it's saving the overall losses so that we can calculate the loss later, I think. Maybe. Where's it? Epic losses.append. Oh, here we go. See, for that epic, it keeps track of all of the losses and then averages them to come up with the overall loss for the epic. And then prints that to the screen. So that's it, right? Isn't that a lot? I mean, they're really dense lines of code. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot going on here, but when you use PyTorch, it's really not that much code to train an AI. Isn't that cool? Well, a basic AI like this one, AIs are a pretty deep rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So that's how you train it. So there we have our trained model. And then where's on evaluate? On update. Here we go. So what I've got going on here is if you click on that evaluate button, it toggles this update. It toggles this update event on. And every 30 frames, it's going to do a prediction. First I tried every frame, and it was way too slow. So I just doing it every 30 frames. I go to get the active viewport, and then I capture that viewport to an integer buffer. So on viewport captured. So once we have that buffer, I grab the buffer and turn it into, and grab that buffer is actually this like C buffer type, pointer to a buffer type. And so we grab the buffer, the actual data out of that. And then there's this self.model. We flip the model to evaluation mode and take that buffer and turn it into an image object. And then we're going to pass that image into our model. And it's going to give back right here. Here's where we actually send it into the model. And then that's going to give us those numbers between -1 and 1 for X and Y. So we're going to use this function here to convert that to however big our thumbnail is, so we can print that dot onto the thumbnail. And that's what we're doing. This replace image function just redraws the image with that green dot in the right place. So there you go.
Right on time.
Right on time. So thanks all for tuning in. And next week, I'm hoping we can show you a self-driving car with Ayush right here in the studio. And I can't wait to see you. Until next week.